Do you think it was a paid hit?
I do.
Do you believe more people will be arrested for what happened to your son?
Yeah.
Julio's murder just keeps spiraling into something darker by the day. What started as a tragic street hit has now turned into a full-blown storm involving the feds, family revenge, and deep-rooted betrayal. His cousin, Kojak, who's been locked up for gun possession, swore from behind bars that once he's out, he's hunting down every single person tied to Julio's death. And now, Julio's own mother just made things even more explosive by revealing the murder was a paid hit, and that she's been working hand in hand with federal agents. She even hinted that more arrests are coming soon. The big question everyone's asking now, will the feds make those arrests first? Or will Kojak serve his own kind of street justice once he's released? Kojak's revenge story might be just beginning, and it's got the whole city watching nervously. He's expected to walk free soon, and one thing's for sure, he's not coming out calm. To him, Julio wasn't just family. That was his brother, his day one. As he once said, "I've been around him my whole life."
So talk about that relationship with you and Julio. Like, he older than you, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like a big brother, little brother type.
Yeah. Been around him my whole life.
When Julio was murdered, Kojak even posted an emotional photo from prison, showing how deeply that loss cut him. Behind those bars, you could see it in his eyes. He wanted blood. Police investigations confirmed the shooters tied to Julio's death were members of ATK and 1200, the same groups tied to Yungeen Ace. Names like Isaiah Chance, Rashad Murphy, and Davian Murphy were listed as documented gang members, and all three were identified as the triggermen in the hit. But even with those shooters locked up, Kojak believes the real mastermind behind it all is none other than Yungeen Ace himself. Julio's mom backed that up too, saying flat out that her son's murder was a paid job.
Do you think it was a paid hit?
I do. Who sent you?
She's reportedly been working with federal investigators to bring down everyone involved, and that includes whoever ordered the hit. Meanwhile, Ace tried to clean up his image online, hopping on IG Live to claim innocence and insisting that he and Julio had made peace before his death. But not everyone's buying that act, especially after Ace dropped 2 vicious diss tracks aimed straight at Julio's name right after the murder. That timing had fans raising eyebrows, with one even commenting, "Von Tippa energy." And that's where it gets wild, because everyone remembers what King Von did after his rival FBG Duck got gunned down. Von went on social media saying they'd squash their beef.
What you think about Foolio dying, cuz? That's sad, twin. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Y'all boys in the street, y'all didn't leave the streets alone, twin. All condone and shit like that. But y'all just gotta stay, y'all gotta, it's so funny, cause me, bro, like, we cool, like, we was cool and shit.
But later, whispers surfaced that he'd allegedly put a $100,000 bounty on Duck's head. The exact same kind of double-faced loyalty Kojak now believes Ace pulled with Julio. But the streets never forget. And if Kojak really moves on what he's been hinting at, Ace might soon realize that not every war ends in a diss track. Some end in revenge. Julio's death didn't just shake the streets. It ignited a chain reaction of blood and revenge that hasn't slowed down since. Just days before his murder, Julio had taken to Instagram to boldly declare that he wasn't afraid to die or go to jail, warning that anyone who dared come for him better keep that same energy. Those words now echo with haunting power.
You approach me, be ready to die. Be ready to die or go to jail.
That's not your mentality, is that?
That's my mentality. I'm ready to die or go to jail right now.
Because barely a week after Julio was killed, the streets struck back hard. One of his alleged rivals, 29-year-old Darius Beals, was found dead in the parking lot of Laurel Grove Apartments late on June 28th around 11 South p.m. According to Clay County deputies, multiple gunshots erupted across the quiet complex, and by the time first responders arrived, Beals was lying lifeless on the pavement, shot several times with no chance of survival. Witnesses said the scene looked like something straight out of a movie. Flashing lights, screaming voices, and a chilling silence once the gunfire stopped. The sheriff's office confirmed Beals died instantly at the scene, and once his identity was revealed, the story took an even darker turn.
Another shocking thing you mentioned in the record was Lil Papa.
We got songs too. We got songs out on YouTube and shit. We got him, we fought, I beat his ass type shit. I had beat his in the mall and shit. Me and my little cousin Kojak beat his in the mall and shit. Yeah.
Darius Beals wasn't just another casualty. He was the big brother of one of Jacksonville's most feared street figures, Lowell Leaky Beals, a known 1200 gang member. Leaky was killed back in 2020, but not before nearly taking out Julio's girlfriend in a drive-by that escalated their already deadly feud. Their beef had roots deep in the streets, sparked years ago by a brawl inside a Foot Locker where Foolio and 2 affiliates jumped on Leaky's little brother, Lil Papa, right in public. The fight was caught on camera, punches flying, people screaming, and chaos erupting until one of Lil Papa's homies pulled up, forcing Julio's crew to retreat. Ironically, Foolio and Lil Papa had once been cool. They even made music together before the street politics split everything apart. But Darius Beals wasn't the only one who met a violent end after Julio's murder. In the weeks that followed, even women began getting caught in the crossfire.
I tell my dogs, stay away from all them hoes. Yeah, drop your low. And I don't think nobody set you up. I know for a fact somebody set you up.
Rumors spread fast about a woman who was ambushed while sitting in her car on Emerson Street near Spring Glen Road. She was shot multiple times, bullets tearing through her arm, leg, and back. Eyewitnesses said the attackers showed no mercy, continuing to fire as she screamed for help. They sped off in a black 4-door sedan, leaving behind a shattered window, shell casings everywhere, and a woman clinging to life. Now people are starting to realize the Jacksonville war between KTA and ATK isn't just street beef anymore. It's a full-blown urban battlefield that's even dragging innocent people into it. And what's more disturbing is that women are reportedly being used as pawns to set up hits. Even Yungeen, Ace himself, let that secret slip during an interview, admitting that chicks be the ones dropping locations when gangs hunt their enemies. That confession hit different once police reports confirmed it. Investigators found that a female associate had helped lure one of Julio's close friends by tricking him into revealing his whereabouts, and that setup directly tied into Julio's own fatal night.
You thinking these girls, your friends and all that type of stuff, they try to set you up.
But here's where things get absolutely wild. Cops discovered that the entire plot to murder Foolio was caught on surveillance cameras. Literally caught in 4K. The footage reportedly shows the killer's vehicle, their movements, and even the moments before the ambush. That evidence could blow the entire case wide open and explain how the feds have already made several arrests tied to Julio's murder. Yet even with that, the streets are restless. Because everyone knows revenge doesn't end with an arrest. It just waits for the next shot to be fired. Between June 21st and 23rd, 2024, a chilling plan was set in motion. One that would end the life of Jacksonville rapper Julio Foolio in cold blood. According to investigators, Isaiah Chance, Alicia Andrews, Sean Gathright, Davian Murphy, and Rashad Murphy conspired together to commit first-degree premeditated murder. This wasn't some random act of violence. It was a calculated retaliation in the ongoing gang war between KTA and ATK, 2 of Jacksonville's most dangerous street crews.
And you can see the shooters are getting in position for their planned out murder.
Foolio, a well-known figure from KTA's 6 block, had long been a target. And when these 5 decided to move, they made sure nothing was left to chance. They drove from Jacksonville all the way to Tampa in 2 vehicles, a silver Chevy Cruze and a black Chevy Impala. The Cruze was driven by Isaiah Chance and his girlfriend Alicia Andrews, while Sean Gathright handled the Impala, which was registered in his mother's name. Together, they hit the road with one deadly mission, to track down Foolio and take him out. Their plan unfolded with chilling precision. Foolio, known for living fast and posting everything online, had made the mistake of announcing his night plans on Instagram, telling fans he'd be at Teaser's Gentlemen's Club and Truth 18 nightclub. That gave the killers everything they needed. Surveillance footage later confirmed the 2 vehicles tailing Julio's car and entourage across multiple stops that night. Chance and Andrews were even caught on camera stepping out of their car near both clubs, their every move recorded by security. Prosecutors say Chance was seen using a cell phone that was later confirmed to belong to Alicia Andrews. Phone records placed her in constant communication with Gathright, who was waiting nearby in the Impala with Rashad and Davion Murphy. The killers coordinated in real time as Foolio moved from one club to another, tracking his every step like predators closing in on prey.
Too late.
And they are shooting at Charles now, and you can see that he's the passenger in that car that's moving and trying to flee.
By the time Julio's group stopped at the Home 2 Suites Hotel, the trap was already set. The silver Cruze made 2 slow passes around the parking lot where Julio's car was parked, signaling the black Impala to move in. Within seconds, gunfire erupted, multiple weapons unleashed at once. Witnesses said it sounded like a full-blown war zone. Foolio was hit in the barrage, and even though his car tried to speed off, the damage was already done. The shots from both a handgun and 2 rifles ended his life instantly. The killers fled, thinking they had executed a flawless hit. But what they didn't realize was that technology had already caught up to them. Cameras from the clubs, the hotel, and even nearby businesses had captured the cars, the shooters, and their movements before and after the murder. Investigators quickly pieced it all together, and that wasn't all. The group's Airbnb, booked from June 22nd to 24th, became the final nail in the coffin. The property's Ring camera captured every suspect coming and going after the shooting. Footage showed Isaiah Chance casually stepping outside with a champagne flute in his hand, like nothing had happened. Davian Murphy was seen carrying a large bag into the parking lot.
Open the car door! Let me see your hands! Back up to the sound of my voice! Yep. Stop right there. Lift your shirt up. Turn. Do a 360.
Then re-entering moments later. Chance and Gathright were recorded passing the camera several times, faces clearly visible in high definition. Even Alicia Andrews was caught leaving the Airbnb wearing the exact same outfit she had on during the murder night. Every move, every face, every careless moment was recorded, and those recordings would soon expose one of the most calculated and reckless gang hits Florida had seen in years. The footage pulled from the Airbnb's Ring camera and surrounding surveillance wasn't just helpful. It became the backbone of the entire investigation. Detectives used those images to piece together a precise timeline, matching every suspect's movements before and after Foolio's murder. But the trail didn't end there, because soon, one name would lead investigators straight to the rest. Authorities began following Sean Gathright, and what they uncovered next was straight out of a movie. Roughly 12 hours after the shooting, cameras picked up Gathright arriving at a relative's home still dressed in all black, the same outfit seen on surveillance the night of Julio's murder. He walked inside calmly, stayed for a few hours, and then came back out around 6:30 p.m.
Isaiah Chance, this is the Jacksonville Sheriff.
But what detectives saw next was a major red flag. Sean was wiping down the exterior and interior handles of his vehicle with a rag, trying to eliminate fingerprints or gunshot residue. He was also seen moving several bags into the garage, right where a 2004 gold Toyota 4Runner was parked. Then, without hesitation, he jumped into that 4Runner and drove off. That moment would come back to haunt him, because just 3 days later, that very same car would seal his fate. On June 26th, Jacksonville Sheriff's deputies spotted the gold 4Runner speeding through city streets. They initiated a traffic stop, unaware that this routine pullover was about to blow the Foolio case wide open.
We have a warrant for your arrest. Come to the front door with nothing in your hand.
Behind the wheel was none other than 18-year-old Sean Gathright. As deputies approached, they immediately caught a strong smell of marijuana leaking from the car. Sean tried to play it cool, denying he had any weed on him, claiming he hadn't been smoking. But the deputies weren't buying it. They had probable cause and decided to search the vehicle. Once Sean was asked to step out and stand behind the SUV, the real story began to unfold. Inside the center console, officers found a small bag with weed residue and psychedelic mushrooms, but that was just the appetizer. When they searched deeper, they uncovered a Glock 19 semi-automatic pistol, along with multiple bags of ammunition, firearm parts, and accessories stashed in the back seat. The sheer amount of gear made it clear. This wasn't some teenager joyriding. This was someone with serious hardware, possibly tied to organized violence.
All right, go to your knees. Put your hands behind your back. Now turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
Keep crawling. Hello, towards me.
Realizing the gravity of what they'd just found, deputies immediately took Sean into custody and transported him to the Crime Gun Intelligence Center for interrogation. Investigators were convinced this arrest could be the breakthrough they'd been waiting for, the missing piece that could unravel the entire Foolio murder plot. But the twists didn't stop there. Shockingly, Sean was released shortly after his arrest, only to be picked up again less than 24 hours later at a local Jacksonville shopping center. Police body cam footage from that second arrest captured the intense moment. Back up to the sound of my voice. Yep, stop right there. Lift your shirt up. Turn around full 360. One officer commanded, as Sean complied.
Do you believe more people will be arrested for what happened to your son?
Yeah.
So more than the 5 that are on the screen right now?
That same day, detectives received actionable intelligence that completely shifted the course of the case. The new information suggested that Julio's murder wasn't just a revenge shooting. It was part of a larger conspiracy involving multiple people. And now, with Sean in custody, investigators finally had the leverage they needed to move in on the others. Within hours, detectives secured a search warrant for a residence on Jacksonville's west side, where they had reason to believe two key suspects, Isaiah Chance and Alicia Andrews, were hiding out. The tension was sky high as officers surrounded the property, weapons drawn and cameras rolling. What they were about to find inside that house would confirm every suspicion they'd had since the night Foolio was gunned down, and take the case into even darker territory. Detectives rolled up on the quiet Jacksonville neighborhood just before dawn. This was it, the moment they'd been waiting for. The house where Isaiah Chance and Alicia Andrews were hiding was surrounded on all sides. Officers shouted commands through a PA system that echoed through the streets, their voices cutting through the tense silence. "Come out with your hands up. Step outside now," they repeated over and over. For nearly 20 minutes, no one moved. Then finally, after one last warning, "All right, go to. Put your hands behind your back. Turn around." Two figures emerged from the house. It was Isaiah and Alicia, their plan finally crumbling under the weight of federal pressure. Their arrests, combined with the evidence recovered from Sean Gathrights' gold 4Runner, marked a huge turning point. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office finally had 3 suspects in custody, and the pieces of Julio Foolio's murder puzzle were starting to lock into place. But investigators knew the job wasn't done. There were still dangerous players out there. The next target was Rashad Murphy, one of the 1,200 members allegedly tied to the hit. With help from the U.S. Marshals, Jacksonville detectives began tracking Rashad's movements, following digital breadcrumbs and street intel, until they located him at Collins Preserve Apartments in the Ortega area. By nightfall, the entire complex was locked down. SWAT units moved in fast, forming a perimeter around Rashad's apartment. Neighbors peeked through blinds as armored trucks rolled in, and officers took cover behind parked cars. Tension filled the air. Inside, Rashad had barricaded himself, reportedly holding a gun to his own head while on FaceTime with his girlfriend, refusing to surrender. The standoff stretched for hours as negotiators pleaded with him to come out alive.
Threat all you want to, man, bro. That's just some words, man. Do be an action.
Finally, just after midnight, the scene broke. Rashad opened the door, dropped the gun, and surrendered to police. The dramatic standoff was over. But the chaos of this case wasn't, because right when detectives thought they could finally breathe, another wild twist came out of nowhere. Sean Gathright tried to escape custody. According to police reports, Sean was placed in an interview room and, in a desperate attempt to flee, climbed onto the table and tried to push through the ceiling tiles like something out of a movie. He got halfway up before officers stormed in and yanked him down. The failed escape only added to the long list of bizarre moments in Julio's murder investigation. Meanwhile, Julio's mother has continued to speak out, saying the arrests so far are just the beginning. She insists more names are coming and the feds aren't done yet. According to her, the web of retaliation, betrayal, and death runs much deeper than what's been exposed, and the streets of Jacksonville are still boiling. The sad truth? These gang wars don't just bury rappers, they destroy families. Julio's cousin Kojak isn't the only one grieving. Across the country, rap artists have been losing loved ones to the same cycle of violence. From Quando Rondo to Lil Durk, the pattern is hauntingly familiar. Cousins, brothers, and friends getting caught up in deadly beefs that never really end. Take Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, for example. After the killing of King Von in 2020, he became one of the most targeted figures in the industry, even though he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger. Quando said death threats flooded his phone daily. Instead of laying low, he challenged his enemies, telling them to put their money where their mouth is. That challenge didn't go unanswered. In May 2021, Quando and his crew were ambushed in Georgia while leaving a convenience store after a performance. Gunfire erupted, shattering windows and sending people running for cover. Quando somehow walked away unharmed, but one of his crew members was shot in the hand. And that was just the first attempt. Another would follow months later, proving that once your name's in the streets, there's never really peace, only a pause before the next round of smoke. The shooting that nearly ended Quando Rondo's life happened barely 10 minutes away from the nightclub where he'd performed the night before. According to police reports, Quando and his entourage made a quick late-night stop at a local convenience store when gunfire suddenly erupted. Witnesses say the shots came either from across the street or possibly from the nearby highway, meaning the hit was strategically planned. Despite the chaos, Quando miraculously survived the assassination attempt, even though he was standing in the parking lot when the bullets flew. But survival didn't mean safety. Whoever was after him clearly wasn't finished, because what came next would change his life forever.
Where we at right now, cuz? We in Cascade right now, cuz? What down there, cuz? Where he at, blood? Where he at? Where he at right now?
The second attempt on Kwando's life struck deep. It claimed the life of his own cousin. The shooters wanted blood after failing the first time. On November 19, 2022, in Beverly Grove, Los Angeles, several armed men ambushed Kwando's entourage while they were parked at a gas station. Gunfire exploded from multiple angles. Kwando ducked for cover, but reports confirm he was the intended target. Sadly, one of his closest friends and family members wasn't so lucky. The victim, later identified as Savvy Robinson, known by friends as Lul Pab, was hit during the ambush. Panicked and desperate, Kwando's crew loaded Savvy into their black SUV and sped off, driving nearly a mile to West Hollywood, where they were stopped by police responding to the gunfire. Body cam footage showed officers performing CPR as Kwando screamed in disbelief, crying out for help as they pulled his cousin's limp body from the car. The footage went viral within minutes, spreading like wildfire across social media. Savvy was rushed to the hospital by ambulance, but it was too late. He didn't make it. Kwando later confirmed his death in a heartbreaking Instagram post, sharing a photo of the two together with the caption mourning his cousin's loss. Unlike Kojak's cousin Foolio, Kwando's cousin wasn't affiliated with any gang. He was just caught in the middle of a deadly feud that had already spiraled out of control. But Kojak isn't the only rapper living through that same pain. Across the map, tragedy has hit multiple artists in the same brutal way. Cousins, brothers, and close friends being gunned down because of street rivalries or old grudges. Take young Dolph and his protege-turned-cousin by marriage, Key Glock. When Dolph was assassinated, the hip-hop world stood still. Key Glock deactivated all his social media, disappearing from the spotlight. Weeks later, he re-emerged on Instagram with a message that broke everyone's heart. "Stop asking me if I'm okay, knowing damn well I ain't." In interviews, Glock admitted the pain still lingers every single day. "Nothing can make it go away," he said quietly. Dolph wasn't just his cousin, he was his mentor, his business partner, his brother in spirit. Dolph had signed Glock to Paper Route Empire in 2017, and together they released two iconic joint projects, Dumb and Dumber in 2019, and Dumb and Dumber 2 in 2021. After gathering the strength to speak publicly, Glock posted an emotional tribute. "Damn, bro, I'm lost. My heart is torn, my brain about to explode. It hurts when I breathe. Why you leave me so soon? You was my left-hand man, my brother, my cousin, my mentor, my drank partner." Young Dolph's death hit the industry like a bombshell. His long-standing feud with Yo Gotti had already sparked years of violence. The tension began back in 2016, when Gotti's artist Black Youngsta rolled through South Memphis looking for Dolph with a crew of armed men. A year later, Dolph was targeted again in Charlotte, North Carolina. Over 100 shots were fired at his bulletproof SUV, and somehow he walked away unharmed. But the danger followed him. In September 2017, Dolph was ambushed again, this time in Hollywood. He was rushed to the hospital after being shot multiple times. Reports at first named Yo Gotti as a person of interest after a heated altercation between their entourages, but LAPD later cleared him. Gotti's associate, Corey McClendon, was charged with attempted murder, but was released without prosecution shortly after. Sadly, Dolph wouldn't survive the next attempt. His 2021 killing in Memphis shocked the entire nation and mirrored the same cycle of revenge and tragedy that keeps repeating in rap. It's the same pattern that now looms over Kojak and Julio's situation. Blood ties, old beef, and deadly loyalty. And it's not just Dolph or Kwando. Lil Durk knows this pain too. His cousin OTF Nunu, a rising rapper, was gunned down in Chatham, Chicago on a sunny Saturday afternoon in June 2014. Nunu was just sitting in his SUV in a parking lot when someone ran up and opened fire, striking him multiple times. The car rolled forward uncontrollably and crashed straight into a storefront at 87th and Cottage Grove. Witnesses described the scene as pure chaos. Glass shattered everywhere, people screaming, police flooding the block. By the time paramedics arrived, it was too late. Nunu, who was on the verge of breaking into the mainstream, died at just 21 years old. It's the same story repeating again and again. Different names, same pain. For Kojak, losing Foolio might just be the final spark that drives him over the edge. When he walks out of that prison gate, one question hangs heavy over the streets of Jacksonville. Will he seek revenge on ATK and 1200, or has time behind bars changed him for good? Only time will tell. But one thing's certain. The cycle of death, loyalty, and revenge in hip-hop is far from over.